Thanks, Camilla. So the next question is why this, why now, why me? Um, so why me? It's a good question. And let me just answer it by saying I completed Tamarack Institute's Foundations of Collective Impact course in the spring of 2025 and used as my case example, which we had to have a case example, gender-based violence, to imagine what might be possible as a collective impact initiative if CFUW clubs worked together with their community partners and with each other across Canada to make a difference in gender-based violence. So that learning is extending into this learning experience. I want to hear from you what might be possible at the local level. Some learning materials in this workshop have been adapted from Tamarack Institute and Ignite NPS. So why now? Because IPV and GBV and all of its forms are growing in number across Canada, and the calls for the declaration of IPV as an epidemic to mayors that we did 2 years ago has not made a really significant difference in local incident numbers. And why this workshop? Well, many clubs work hard in their communities, networking with other organizations, and sometimes cooperating with them to stage events and educate the public about issues is what they do. So, can we do better, different, more, or be more effective with those organizations in one common interest area or issue? So, that's what brought me to develop this workshop. And this is a collective learning experience. I'm going to learn as much from you as you're going to hear about from me. So we'll learn about this is the beginning of a journey that we are taking together to explore the idea of working in collaboration with others, aiming at one particular issue, which is violence against women and girls. I expect we will have lots to share, to think about, to learn from each other, and to discover together. So what is CFUW's Foundation for Advocacy? It's education, and what we stand for is our vision and mission of CFUW, which is this, a world where women and girls are educated and empowered to make transformational change in the world and to achieve educational and economic equality, social justice through continuous learning and empowerment. This is our purpose statement, which has lasted quite a long time. To promote high standards of public education in Canada, advance study and research by women, and a sound concept of lifelong learning. This is one of those instances of lifelong learning that we're exhibiting or experiencing today. We advocate for the advancement of status of women, human rights, and the common good, locally, nationally, and internationally. And I've bolded this particular piece, promote cooperation, networking, support, and understanding among women, because the whole idea of collaboration and collective impact initiatives are around promoting cooperation, networking, support, and understanding. Encourage and enable women to apply their knowledge and skills in leadership and decision-making in all aspects of the political, social, cultural, educational, and scientific fields. And here's our board strategic plan for this year, which is to reaffirm and amplify CFUW's purpose and advocacy role, communicate CFUW's public identity as a strong, values-driven advocate for women's rights and human rights, especially for those who are marginalized and underrepresented locally, nationally, and in response to international issues. The learning objectives of the workshop are to appreciate the uniqueness of various approaches, to assess your CFUW clubs and the community's collaboration culture, to analyze your readiness to engage in an initiative and identify the potential community assets and champions you can use to support it. That will be the focus of most of today's workshop and possibly January's workshop which is number 2 in a series of 3. And then if and when you believe you're ready to go, you can create a local plan to mobilize input and commitment needed to develop, implement, and sustain a successful initiative. And you can enhance your club's ability to participate in and lead or lead an initiative by using the tools, resources, and examples of impact initiatives as you wish. So as for all of my presentations, I ask you to stand in inquiry, which means to ask questions, to turn judgment into curiosity, to turn disagreement into shared exploration, to turn defensiveness into self-reflection, and to turn assumptions into questions. So don't be shy about asking questions. That is what a workshop is all about. So learning first, then advocacy. So we're going to learn about collaboration culture, about collective impact initiatives, about what we know and don't know, and about who else is involved. So here are the questions that we'll explore, hopefully today. What is collaboration culture? What is a collective impact initiative? What is the issue? Hearing about one collective initiative. And what do CFUW clubs have and need to collaborate well? And then what are the knowns and unknowns about violence against women and girls? And if we have time, we'll talk about who influences violence against women and girls in your community or region, or that will become the homework for the next time. So consider this. Because the prevailing statistic says 1 in 3 women are subject to gender-based violence, does that mean that of the 6,800 CFUW members, then at least 2,267 members have been victims of gender-based violence at some point in their lives? This could include physical violence, harassment at work or on the street, or economic abuse, which is isolation and the loss of a monetary identity, or any number of other things. Here is a variety of words that are used to describe violence against women and girls. And I will leave you to look at those words. CFUW works in many of these areas at the club and council level. Hundreds of organizations, nationally, provincially, municipally, privately, and public, are engaged in working on some aspects of this work. Women's shelters, crisis centers, legal education, donors, funders. We will be looking at all the collaborators in this work in a few moments. It feels like many are working in small groups and sometimes alone, seeking support from their communities, constantly educating and reaching out, hoping to last another year on scant funding. Large organizations are lobbying governments for action, for more legislation, or to keep the wage department, women and wage department in cabinet. What if we could work in concert, working together, supporting one another, talking about organizing together to make our voices stronger and maybe make a big, lasting difference? That was the question that I asked when I was taking that course. What if? What if? So I want to emphasize that we're starting exactly here at Evaluate, which is before raising awareness in the public and in the greater membership of our clubs, and also right at the point of responding to opportunities and threats. Because we need to become aware of what it takes to build a collective impact initiative. And interestingly, that point also sits on responding to opportunities and threats, with the threat opportunity here is that gender-based violence is reaching epidemic proportions in our communities. How can we build a more resilient community, one that does not tolerate this increase, provides support to the battered and their families, deals with the accused justly, protects and shelters women escaping from harm, and provides resources to educate community members on the prevention and reduction of violence? So, assessing readiness. Are there any questions so far? So far, so good? People are nodding? Okay, moving on. So, the first thing we should be thinking about in creating a community collaboration is, where is our community in its stage of readiness for us to work with them? And everybody's community is different. I'm going to read something from the Collective Impact Tools book, which is by Liz Weaver, published in 2022 by Tamarack and Ignite NPS. Understanding community rhythms. Taking the pulse of your community is an important step. Providing a useful framework for understanding different stages is important. Understanding these different rhythms or stages of community life can help explain why some communities adopt change at a faster pace than other communities. Communities find themselves in a waiting place. They're waiting for someone or something to come along to solve their current problems. These community members often feel disconnected from the problem. The community is fragmented with different limited leadership. By waiting, they are looking for someone else to step up to the plate with the answer. These communities seem in part to have given up hope for a different future. Those communities that are in an impasse state have hit rock bottom, but the community's members are stuck and don't really know the path forward. There is a lack of leadership in this type of community, and while people are frustrated, no one individual or group is willing to step forward and break the impasse. Catalytic communities show a lot of promise. These communities can seed real change because the citizens understand that there is a problem, they are energized, and are willing to act. There is the appropriate leadership in place to move from inertia to action. Communities in the growth stage are making progress on their community problem or issue. There is a sense of community spirit and connection. People can name key community leaders and speak with pride about the common purpose and direction. And finally, a community in the sustain and renew phase might have achieved their initial goal, but are now struggling to maintain momentum. It is at this point where the leadership needs to draw lessons and insights from the past and determine a path forward. There is a danger in the sustain and renew phase that there might be a loss of momentum and they might head back to the waiting place. Diagnosing the rhythm or stage your community is in can be helpful when considering whether there is the right capacity and willingness to take on the challenge of community change. Communities move from one rhythm to the next, and that there are times when significant changes move communities quickly through the stages. If your community is in a waiting place or at an impasse, it may take longer to build the right strategic capacity and leadership. They say that timing is everything, and that is why it's so important to consider the community readiness before jumping in. Are there any questions? So now, after you take the temperature of your community and where they're at, and I'd like to know, just from the people who are here, who thinks that your community is at a waiting stage? Just put your hands up. Okay. Who thinks they're at an impasse? Who thinks the community is, let me go back. Who thinks the community is catalytic?
Yeah.
Did I see a hand go up?
Hmm.
It's Kathy and Fiona and Linda. Okay. And who thinks their community is going fast? What am I? Growth. Who thinks their community is in growth?
Oh, yeah.
Karen?
Yeah.
Karen and Susan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And who thinks they're in sustain and renew, that they've achieved something and that they might be looking at the next step? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see that there's a variety of places people are, and that's okay. Every community is different for sure. And so the readiness for starting something in CFUW is going to be different as well. So let me share again. I'm bouncing between things. Doop, doop, doop. So what is your organization? What is your organization's collaboration culture? That is, what is your club's collaboration culture? Not the community's collaboration culture now, but inside your club. Here are the three. Here are the three key values that need to be present in an organization like a club to foster a collaboration culture, and each is equally important. So fostering agility, adaptiveness, and innovation, to being creative and learning, a learning organization, to focus on purpose, looking outward to achieve its purpose rather than constantly looking inward to achieve its purpose, and committing to authentic relationships, engaging deeply with its community, which includes equitable and inclusive environments, and engaging deeply. So that's another way to take the temperature of your organization, your club. So I know we're a small group, so maybe we don't need to break into groups, but you should have all received the 3 questions. Discuss the question that is appealing to you. I'm wondering, let me look at the group again. Having trouble navigating here. There we go. Here we go. So we have how many people? We have 12 people. If we made 4 groups of 3, 3 groups of 4, we could each discuss one of the questions. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do that. I might need your help here, Camilla. No. 3 groups of 4.
Karen didn't get the questions, but I
Karen
think
didn't get the questions?
are we going to have them in the chat, or I guess somebody has it somewhere.
Yeah, somebody should have questions. If Karen doesn't have them, I will send them to her. You have them. You have them. Okay.
Oh.
Good. Okay.
Did
So
Jane, who doesn't have them?
Jane doesn't have them?
I don't think I received, was it in an email?
Yeah,
It should have been in an email.
Just
Yeah.
this morning. Yeah.
just today.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I must have missed them, sorry.
it's okay. Somebody in your group will have them. So I want to create 1, 2, 3 groups of 4, and I will let you go to your group and note the group number, and whatever your group number is, that's the question you're working on. Okay? Clear as mud?
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 6 minutes to work on this question? Lisa,
Okay, so there's 3 questions.
right.
The third question is what actions can be taken to bridge? Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Or is it
So if
the
you're in
th-
group 3, work on the third question. If you're in group 2, work on the second question. If you're in group 1, work on the first question.
Okay, thanks. I
Yeah,
was just confused because there's 3 parts to the first question.
I know. That's
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not trying to
Okay.
overburden anybody, but that's the way it worked. Okay, so away you go. 6 minutes to work together.
Did you assign me to a room?
Somebody stuck?
Christine. Mm. Did you want me to bop around the different rooms, or do you want me to go
Sure,
to a
you could
specific
bop
room?
around the different rooms.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Okay.
Make sure they're working on the things they're supposed to be working on, okay?
We can give them a few minutes to get set up too, if you'd like.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's going well so far. How do you feel?
So far, so good. We'll turn the recording off while we're in the breakout rooms. Just remember to
I can
turn.
pause it.
Okay, pause it.
On my phone, you know, I'm at my sister's and we could not get her camera or her microphone to work. So
glad you're
I'm on
here.
my phone. So I'm
I'm
on my
glad
phone.
you're here.
But I
Okay.
don't know where anything is on my phone screen. I've never zoomed on my phone before.
Well, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Just don't ask me to touch anything or, or change anything.
Don't worry. So what did we hear? Question, group number 1. What did you have to share?
Well, we were in kind of 3 different stages.
Mhm.
We'll say for my group, and there's Heather, Aurora Newmarket, and of course Ontario Council. We're very far along, and I didn't quite catch all your continuum, so I think we're
Okay.
further along the continuum than I thought. We certainly work well with our community organizations. We focus on purpose. We've got a clear purpose. We've got 3 things we work on more than anything on gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, and focusing on the issues there. We have really good connections with the community, with mayors, MPPs, councillors, and there's a particular women's shelter and support organization that we work with a lot. And agility, adaptiveness, innovation, I'm not sure. I guess we keep going on that. But I'm not sure we're all at the same spot. So Kitchener-Waterloo, it sounds like they are working also with 4 groups working together. So I think that's really great. I think we do a lot better when we work with other community organizations, and especially if we can get um, government support, government, whatever level we want to call it, those in power to understand and be supportive of the needs. And Sheila's just kind of still learning about what's going on in her community. She's new to that community, and we'll find out a lot more.
I just have to clarify that although
Yes.
I'm a member of Nanaimo, I actually live in a very small community and I've changed it on my screen.
Mm,
So Karen Shapness can speak for Nanaimo far better than I can, and I know they're very active.
mm.
But you're pretty active in Lake Cowichan, aren't you?
Yes, I am, but I'm not
But
getting a
not as a
lot of,
CFUW. person.
No, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And to clarify for Susan, the working with 4 groups I spoke about at KW, just as an example of authentic relationship, I mentioned that the local December 6th vigil was previously
Mhm.
held by a local group that is a women's shelter. And years ago, this club stepped forward to take on that task and yet continues to work with the other 4 groups in the community just on that project.
Yeah.
So I think that's as an example of authentic relationship.
Okay. Group number 2.
I can talk for us. So our question was regarding and if there are any significant gaps between the organization's culture and the ones described by the values, which were mentioned in the previous question. And we were discussing how, kind of due to the size and scope of CFUW, not every club necessarily has the same focus when it comes to advocacy, or if advocacy is a main focus of their club, which does lead to gaps kind of across the organization, as well as capacity for advocacy. There might be something that's more of a focus at a certain club as opposed to GBV. And so also gaps are also gaps can also lead to kind of issues in terms of collaboration, depending on where clubs are located, depending on the organizations that are in that area, depending on the capacity of both those clubs and the organization. We were talking about Nanaimo's really great collaboration, though, if you wanted to add to that at all, Karen.
We have had an interesting shift this year where our one of our advocacy members, former chair of the Haven Society, and she reached out, and we are collaborating with Haven Society and one of their partners, and we're combining the Purple the World with the Unite campaign. Haven Society brings with it staff, so the staff has really embraced the things that for the last dozen years CFUW had done as an initiative on November 25th, and they're kind of using us as the sage mentors. It's really kind of fun sitting on a webinar and they go, oh, and what did you do about this, and what did you do about that? Oh, this is just really great. This is just saves us so much time, and we can streamline this. And yet we're sort of now way in the background, but as an advocacy group, we're delighted that this is how this initiative is blooming in a new direction. I mentioned during COVID, we had a close collaboration with the Faculty Association Status of Women at the university. They had the technology to do tapes, like you tape your 2-minute experience, and it was posted. They also had access to really great writers who did news releases and so on. The folks at Haven, they're all up in social media, so they've got it all over social media. But they've also got posters and press releases and so on, stuff that we did not have momentum for. But we've had the staying power of many years of this gathering on the 25th. So the mayor has been there for many years. The city councilors, the MLA comes. There's often a representative from our First Nations and so on. So that's kind of, they have an expectation for an invitation there. So this new iteration, we'll see how it unfolds. But also community members, like I was mentioning, the folks the businesses who would support us, we would buy the service from them for the audio, for the hot coffee and chocolate, they comp the Haven Society. Like, in other words, they're more willing to be a contributing member to this. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. Great. Any other observations on question number 2 before we move to question number 3? We have question number 3 set to go. All those with your handouts, you can read the question, I should say. And who's in group number 3 that wants to talk?
I can do that, Susan.
Thanks.
We probably should have read questions 1 and 2 before going to 3. So we kind of mistook the question. We read it. Okay, what actions can be taken to bridge the gap between the organizations? And that's what we were thinking was the club's current and ideal culture of collaboration. We initially took the question to mean the gap within the club. And we just talked about how a lot of our members are in the club for social reasons and not involved in advocacy and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of education of our members for this as a very first step. And then we did talk about building partnerships in the community and how, reaching out to dignitaries, people in position personally with letters, for example, to the mayors, that sort of thing. We have to reach out. And the vigil, December 6th vigil that Lisa mentioned, we are collaborating this year. It was a recommendation from last year's vigil, so we're working really, really hard with 3 other organizations, and this really is a first step. And we really wanted to get across the message in our poster that we're working together on an issue that's been around for a long time, but we want to work together to keep the momentum and be successful. So just working together. I don't know if Linda or Jane want to add anything.
I was just going to say that we thought we did a good job of being involved with our communities and collaborations. And we were talking about in Quebec, where the Lakeshore Club, we send out letters and the municipalities light up in orange or purple for us. And then most of us have ties to the women's shelters, most of the clubs in their areas.
And I would just like to add, it debuted in Prince George in October. I think it was October 16th, and it's called, I don't know much about it, but it's called the Purple Light Nights campaign. And it originated in, Purple Light Nights campaign originated in Washington. And the RCMP was one that sort of put this on, and it encouraged businesses, homes, and wherever to put purple lights up. And so anyway, just to look into that, because it would be great if we got more cities involved in Canada. So
Okay. Any other notes? All good?
I think that's like the shine the light. There's this purple, and the official day is November 15th, I think. And I believe the shine the light, the purple campaigns. What's interesting to me is that I think that was started about 15 years ago, and a real grassroots thing. And I think also the United Nations initiative started as a real grassroots thing. So I think that there's various grassroots initiatives that who's ever got the passion for it, if we can keep things going, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I don't know what November 15th is. I mean, we do, in our community, we do November 25th, but there's also some of them are shining the lights and lighting up the city hall and so forth, or a town square. Some of them is a flag raising because they don't have something that lights
Right.
up. And we also have on December 10th, so we've got different dates and different things going on in the communities. We have a lot of communities.
Mhm.
But they're all related. They're all related. And
They're all related, yes, and
Yes.
they invite us to everything.
yeah. And Camilla was reminding us as well that the letters to, and the choice is there for you if you want to ask the city hall to light up in purple or in orange. And like you said, sometimes they just have banners on the street or what have you. So yeah, it's to be creative and as long as there's some color showing somewhere.
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
and Susan, were you talking about purple ribbons? Were you making it into little pins or were you just tying them to the purses?
We're going to provide about 6 inches of purple ribbon for our members at our meeting, just to tie to their purses with
Oh,
little explanations, like sort of like an elevator script.
I like that.
Okay. All right. So just going to give you a quick view of what a collective impact initiative is. So in 2011, two researchers, Kenya and Kramer, and I've got the reference here if you want to look this up for the paper that they wrote, described a framework that described community efforts moving from fragmented action and results to collective action and deep and durable impact. They talked about 5 conditions, and the 5 conditions are not the first things needed to create a collective impact, but they are needed to sustain a collective impact initiative. The first things needed is a collaborative culture, as we talked about before, followed by 3 preconditions, which I'll illustrate in a moment. Such an initiative requires intentional collaboration over a long period of time by a group of diverse and invested people. So what does it look like? Here is just one possible arrangement. Don't be overwhelmed by the look of it. It's in a scenario like this, CFUW might be a community partner, a community steward, a member of an action team, part of the leadership table, or a willing volunteer group. But here's what one can look like. I told you don't be overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. So you can see that this cloud is your giant community.
Excuse me, Heather, I don't think you're sharing your screen.
Am I not sharing my screen? Oh my God. Sorry. My problem. Thank you. Thank you. Thank goodness people speak up and say what they need. So here is a look at what a collective impact initiative could look like. This pink cloud is the community, and this particular circle here is described as a community partner, a nonprofit funder or a business or a public agency, or they could be patients or caregivers or residents. If you're looking at something like a seniors initiative, it could be marginalized people, it could be ethnocultural communities, could be whoever. They're a community partner. Then this table is an action team. It's described as working groups formed around ideas and opportunities. They're not organizations. The action team is just a team of people.
Yeah.
And they have chairs. And the chairs often report to or are part of something called the Collective Impact Leadership Table. And sometimes there's a fiscal sponsor on that table that is like the big donor or a couple of big donors that might sit there. So there are action teams working on various aspects of the initiative. And there's a lot of community partners. You can see them all dotted here. And then here you have community stewards, which surround the whole thing. Again, this is just one model. It's not the model. It's just one model that ensures the collective initiative, the initiative is accountable and responsible to the community. So it's citizens basically that are looking at this and that the collective impact initiative is reporting to on a regular basis. And they have a common agenda. They have shared measurements. on success. They have mutually reinforcing activities and continuous communication between the collective impact leadership table and all of these pieces. It's complicated. This one is complicated. Yours doesn't have to be. So now Fiona has a story to tell about the Violence Against Women in Relationships table that she is a part of in North Vancouver. Now is your time to shine, Fiona, and I'll
Oh, wow. Okay.
let you talk.
Yeah, basically I talked to the people who organized the table, and basically the North Shore Violence Against Women in Relationships table came about starting about in the late 1980s as a result of a BC provincial policy to create VAWIR tables. So the idea was that in order for there to be appropriate collective action in dealing with the problem, that you needed to really bring all the different players together. And so, you know, it began quite a while ago. The current host agency for the table is the North Shore Women's Center, and they've been hosting the table since 2001. And we meet every other month. The table so there's the North Shore Women's Center. There are other community agencies that sit there that provide services. We have representatives from the RCMP, from the West Vancouver Police Department. There are people there from the Minister of Child and Family Services. There are people from Social Justice Institute, and people who work in conflict resolution. So a lot of the different players that are active within the North Shore of Vancouver have representatives who come to the table. As I say, we meet every other month. They have speakers who talk about different issues that are common to the table. And we also have an opportunity to share examples and say, you know, I have a case like this. Anybody have any bright ideas about how we might be able to bring in, you know, these sorts of services? But it gives you an opportunity to understand what the other players in your community are doing, what resources they have available to them, what sort of wait times they have, for example. You know, the YWCA sits on the table too, and they have a lot of services for immigrant women as well. And they can tell you, you know, what do we have available? What languages do we have it available in? You know, how long would people have to wait for a consult? And it really does give, make sure that people that work in the area know what is available in the community. CFUW North Vancouver is the only non-service provider that sits at the table. We originally had been invited because North Shore Women's Center also organizes the December 6th March, and they had invited us to come and speak representing women in education and higher education. And since I took over with that committee, I've been sitting and going every month to the meetings, just to really understand what is going on in the community, to be able to really get an idea of the scope and the gravity of, you know, what is happening in my community. So that's the table.
That's the table. So do you want to talk about what your evolving role is?
Mm-hmm. So as I say, I've been going for about 2 years to the table, and I kept sitting there going, oh, you know, I'm the only non-service provider here. How can CFUW provide a more active role, and what can we contribute to the table, other than being there on December 6th and speaking about, you know, speaking to the École Polytechnique situation. And what you often hear around the table is that one of the biggest barriers that women have to leaving abusive relationships is they have nowhere to go. Now you know, we do have an emergency shelter. We have some transition shelters. We have some secondary level housing. And then of course, people have to move into the market, but there's really a backlog. That's partly because of the fact that the housing situation in Vancouver is very expensive. So market housing is expensive. So it's hard for people to leave transition housing and go into market housing. And so there's a backlog, but there's really not a lot available to women on the North Shore. So, and they kept talking about how they would like to, to advocate for more housing for women and wanting to leave violent situations. And so I'm going, oh, advocate, we can advocate. Because many of the people around the table are not able to, whether they're because they're charitable organizations and have CRA restrictions on advocacy. People from the Ministry of Child and Family Services, because they're a government department, they can't actually advocate in the same way. So I thought what we could do is take the point on an advocacy project. So I drafted a proposal where we would begin by education is the basis of any good advocacy project. Do a sort of a scan of the services, what's actually available, because there isn't actually a collect a list of like how many spots are available and what do you have to do and how long can you stay and who can qualify. That information isn't in one place. So collect the information, do a survey of the people in the community with the service providers of their clients. What do people really need? Where are the gaps? And then design an advocacy program to seek to fill those gaps. Meanwhile, Capilano University contacted the North Shore Women's Center, which is the table host, saying, do you have any community projects that we could participate in? And of course, we're going, we have a project. So what's happening now is that we have a 200 level sociology class. The students are doing the assessment of the situation in the community. They're going out to the different agencies and finding out how many beds they have, how, who qualifies to go into them, how long can you stay, are there income restrictions and so on. Then we have 2 400 level sociology classes who are actually designing surveys and interview or focus group guidelines for the different stakeholders in the community. So that would be, you've got service providers. They've actually added in landlords, the actual clients, children. And so because it's an academic exercise that they're going to get graded on, they've got lots of different stakeholders. And they are designing these surveys and questionnaires, which we could then use to actually go out to these different stakeholders and do the needs assessment. Now, they can't actually go out and do the interviews and things because of the ethics review board that they would need to go through in order to deal with, real subjects. But they are providing they will be providing literature reviews for each stakeholder group, and then the interview and the survey questions. And so then we'll continue from there. Now, so far, the university is really excited about being able to participate, and they may have further participation in the future. We'll have to see, but that is what we're doing right now. So we're working with all the people at the table, the VAWIR table, have a stake in all of this, and also now we're working with people from the university. So it's it's really been really interesting, a lot of fun to work with the students, and I think it's becoming a really great community project.
Are there any questions for Fiona? I just wanted to note that Linda's put in the chat that she has a table de quartier du Sud-Ouest de l'Île made up of citizens and local organizations similar to your table, Fiona.
Mm-hmm.
They are in many regions, in Quebec for sure, likely. I'm not sure that there's many in other communities. It would be good for clubs to get involved in these. Has anyone worked with Women's Shelters Canada? And in Quebec, we have associations of women's shelters. Jane, you have a question?
Yeah, it's just a question / comment, but thanks, Fiona, because we have that VAWIR group here. And our advocacy group is really interested in this because of our resolution that just was adopted about strengthening awareness and safekeeping of individuals and their animals escaping domestic violence. And we actually have a meeting with the BCSBCA on Monday to find out how we can collaborate with them. But I see also sitting at the table, if we can, of that committee that you're on, because something that's missing is sort of like the animal awareness part. with getting people out with their animals, with that being a barrier. So this is kind of exciting to hear.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, the BCSPCA here in the Lower Mainland does take animals in and shelter them. They do
Yes.
have a particular program, like for example, the one in West Vancouver near us, they will take, I think they take them for up to 6 months for women who are leaving and need somewhere for their animal to go. So, you know, it's great if the SPCA can, you know, do it in other communities as well, because it's a thing. You know,
It's
you
a
don't
thing.
really realize it. It is really an issue. Women will stay rather than leave their animals behind to take the brunt of it, you know.
But, you know, collaborating with, and we're gonna move after that with the BCSPCA, find out with, like Elizabeth Fry here in Prince George, they are able to take animals. But they have Safekeepers program, it's called that, the BCSPCA, and it's on the island, I think it's in Vancouver. But there is some foster programs, but one of the persons that we're gonna be talking to is Diane Waters, who leads the safekeeping program on Monday, so, but anyways, it's exciting.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
An opportunity. Anybody else have a question for Fiona? If not, we'll move on. I'll try to remember to share this time. There we go. So, looking at readiness part 2. Are you ready at the local community-wide level to work collaboratively with others in pursuit of the goal? Whatever the goal might be, it might not be GBV, but in this context that we're talking about today, we are talking about gender-based violence. So, there are 3 preconditions, as I said before, I would mention them, to set up an initiative for success. And they are to have an influential champion. That could be CFUW, it could be the North Shore Women's Center, it could be whoever, it could be the BCSPCA, it could be whoever you think could be an influential champion on your initial initiative. The urgency of the issue, certainly for violence against women and girls, there isn't a question, I don't think, that it is an urgent issue. And then, do you have adequate resources? What do you have and what do you need in order to move the needle a little bit further along? So that's what we're going to talk about next. And in your worksheets, you should have a haves and needs amongst CFUW clubs. So what does CFUW already do? And what do they have to promote successful harm reduction actions related to violence against women and girls in our communities? So there's room enough on your worksheets to talk about what you already do and what you might have in the way of doing it. Linda.
Okay, so when you say CFUW, you're talking about our clubs.
Yes, I am. I am
Okay, no,
talking
I know, I need
at
to
the
clarify.
club level, not generally the CFUW national organization, but CFUW clubs. Thank you for that clarification. I meant to put that word in there. So think about in the club's context. And I will give you, it's 12:08. I will give you 10 minutes to work on this in the same groups that we worked on before. Does that make sense?
It seems like a long time because if there's
Does it seem like a long time?
It's for me. I don't know if we're 3 people saying what our clubs are doing, but that could just me or it could be the whole group. I don't know.
No, I'm happy to make it shorter.
I think shorter.
Yeah, sure.
Shorter is
think
good.
shorter, yeah.
Okay.
Like 6
So,
minutes again
let's-
because
All right. I will cut you off in a shorter period of time.
5.
Here you
Aaron
go.
says 5.
5 minutes. 5 minutes it
6 was
is.
long before.
All right. Go for it. Join your rooms. So far, I'm making sense?
Sorry, I had to step away for a sec, but I left Elizabeth to co-host.
It's
I
okay.
did, but yeah.
So far, everything's making sense. Good. I have been rearranging these slides over the past week, and this morning I rearranged them again. So it's like,
Oh boy.
yeah, I never fix a program until it's almost ready to be delivered. Ah. Hello, Christine. Are you there?
Looks like we have two Christines.
Do we have Chris? Oh, we have two Christines. We have one that has joined and one that has not joined. I don't know
I
what's
thought
going
that
on.
sometimes that happens.
Okay.
And then that causes like a funny echo.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go. One minute. I promised them it would only be 90 minutes. So I want to be true to my promise. Welcome back. Welcome back. I know I gave you more time than 5 minutes, but then I added that extra question, so I thought it was only fair.
Oh, we missed, we didn't see the extra question. There was something and then it was gone, so we didn't see an extra question.
Oh,
And
oh, okay.
we were
Sorry.
there. Yeah. Did you see it,
enough.
Karen? You didn't see it either in your group? Okay.
Okay. Well,
No
What was the
extra-
gosh.
question?
Yeah,
Fair
what was the
enough.
extra question?
The extra question was to work on the needs, which was also at the bottom of the worksheet.
Oh, oh.
What does CFUW need?
Oh, okay.
I think
The
we
to be a
kind of
good
did
collaborator?
all of it.
That's okay. We can do it. We can do it as a group.
And you mean CFUW clubs?
Clubs, absolutely. Clubs. Yes.
Mm.
Thank you for that constant clarification, Linda.
Well, no, because I start going somewhere else, so I just
Yeah, because
I
you're
like
the
to know
president
the
and you
rules.
think big. You think big. So
You
Mhm.
have way more resources than the rest, than all of us.
it's okay. It's all right. So let me share and go back to the question that we started
I
with.
just want to answer though, the CFUW resources are everybody's resources.
Yes. Yes. But clubs resources are clubs resources. So
Mhm.
what does CFUW clubs, and let me just put that down there right clearly. What do CFUW clubs already do and have to promote successful harm reduction actions related to violence against women and girls in our communities? Let's have some quick answers and then we'll move on.
It's a different question to what we have. Okay.
No, it shouldn't be.
What do we have? Well, we already have, yeah, we've got, what does your CFUW club do now for women and families experience GBV and any of it, all of its forms?
Yeah,
That-
do.
Okay.
Do.
So
So,
what do we have? We have people, we have volunteers.
yeah. Anybody else? Just throw out your answers. I can type in as fast as I can.
Collections, gift cards, pajamas. Those are different activities.
Yeah. PJs. What else?
Any fundraising done via a walk that benefits women's shelter would count.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
We approach our politicians, our governments, at every level, or various levels, whether it's in person or by letter writing or petitions.
Sharing their campaigns on social media.
Mm,
Our shelters do a lot online. Every time a poor woman is been murdered or just other information, they share on social media, and they share our CFUW posts as well. We tag them. We tag our local shelters, and then they'll share it as well.
Okay. Anybody else? Or shall we move on?
Just one thing that our club's doing, our advocacy club just got, it's called like a talking points kind of sheet about the our resolutions, so that people are educated and can start conversations with community. And that's something, once we get the draft finished, we'd love to share with everybody
mhm.
across Canada, so.
We
Just
sign,
about-
we sign petitions, that could be part of the government thing, but
Mhm, mhm.
We
We
bring
also
in
have social
history.
media, whether that's, I mean, yes, National has, Ontario Council has, but our clubs at different levels. My club in particular is out on social media all the time. Look, we went on this walk and we raised so much for this shelter, or signed the petition with us, or you know, something like that.
Oh, the coldest night of the year.
Yes.
Oftentimes they're tied to shelters. Geez, that's a big one that we do nationally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
CNY.
as an organization, we have history.
Yes.
We have credibility. We're a valued partner, I would like to believe.
Very true, Karen.
And also, we're able to do advocacy where other organizations might not be able to, the way Fiona
Yeah.
talked about it.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a good
And we-
list. That's a
Oh,
great
sorry, and I
list.
was just gonna say, we do have some big collaborators like National Council of Women, and we do things with them occasionally at the local levels and national level as well. I'm thinking provincial, but we should do more nationally at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And local collaborations, whether that be
Yeah,
with a shelter or another group that's supporting women.
Yeah.
the tables, the local table, like the table de concertation or the local tables in other areas.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to stop us. I know that there's lots that we could add.
Mhm.
So, what do we know now that works to reduce gender-based violence as clubs, and what don't we know? And the most pressing question on that sheet was, what is needed by CFUW clubs? Clubs
I didn't say
to
anything.
to be a better collaborator.
But
I know you didn't get to that question, but let's just throw it up there.
but what do we know about that? I'm
Yeah.
Hmm.
What do we know? I'll put the question up again. What do we know now that works to reduce gender-based violence?
I'd say education.
Awareness, yeah.
When I think about where we were in the 1980s versus where we are today, or even 5 years ago.
Yeah,
What
and
about
that's
shelter?
Yeah, that's mostly due to education. Yeah, we need more well, at least in my community, we need more shelters.
They all
we-
do. We all do.
Yeah, more housing space and places for people to go, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But doing all that is good. But what needs to change? Why is it still happening? And it's happening all the time across all cultures, across all education levels across all, well-to-do, poor. It's
Mhm,
I
mhm.
just, I mean, I know somebody that it was a middle-class family and the husband killed the wife, drugged the kids. Nobody knew. Anyways.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think
Oh.
in terms of education and awareness, it's not just in terms of like we know that it's important for us to understand education and awareness, but it's also it's important to educate institutions like the military and police who are dealing with these issues,
Mhm.
dealing in
Mm,
quotation marks.
Shelters Canada does work like I know I'm with Royal LePage. We have a huge shelter foundation that gives money to Shelters Canada, and a big chunk of it also goes towards education workshops for young boys and girls, how to
Mhm.
change their behavior, how to not accept a certain behavior, how to, because you need to do that, as
Yeah.
well as money going directly to shelters to
Mhm.
help. But it has to be a two-pronged.
Mm.
And
then
it's a
also,
it's also a mental health issue,
Yes.
children who have grown up in abusive homes, there are things
Yeah.
that follow from that, and it can become a mental health issue for people.
Mm.
Sure.
What I took from the presentation from North Van is that every community is organized in some manner. And a good starting point is for a CFUW club to just become aware of who all the players are and how
Mhm.
they're currently organized, to try to discern how to best fit into that organization,
Yeah.
and be effective and be a good partner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think we were saying that in our group too. It's how do we help? How do we be part of an organized, like the group?
Mhm.
Because that's what CFUW does very well at, is sharing with our members and supporting the groups that are actually in it and doing it. And what is it that we can do to assist them?
Okay.
It's not only helping educate police and armed forces, but helping educate our government officials, because sometimes they just don't know.
Yeah.
And that, when you go and talk to an MLA or MP, or they can't know everything, right? So it's education there too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And coordination. I mean, in June, there was an independent report that came out here in BC on is our justice system really serving women
yes.
when it comes to gender-based violence? And the conclusion of the report was not always. There's, notwithstanding the attempts at coordination and the attempts at making sure that the police know what what the court services are doing and so on and so forth, we need more coordination, and we need more people to really work together to optimize how we handle these situations, notwithstanding the fact that we've been trying for years and years and years, over 20 years or whatever, to try and make the system work better.
Look at the hockey players. Look
Oh.
at what happened there. And then how many people don't come forward
Mhm.
to even make a claim.
I'm going to use the word victims. I don't like it, but
Survivors is
Survivors.
yeah.
survivors is the word that they tend to
Yeah.
use here now. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, they're maybe not survivors yet if they're victims at the moment.
But they survived. They're
they're
still alive.
surviving. They're
I know.
surviving.
I know Humane Canada, when I was working with them with this resolution, they used the term victim/survivors just to sort of cover
Mm.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to move us off this topic, but it's the beginning of a discussion to think about what we know, what we don't know, and what we might need to know or need in terms of future thinking around becoming a better collaborator. So, what is the problem we're aiming to work on? Again, this slide. So, what are the options for approaching this issue? I'm going to leave that with you because we're coming up to the half hour and we've been together for 90 minutes, and I promised that this was a 90-minute workshop. So can we define what we might collectively work on related to gender-based violence or violence against women and girls? I'm going to leave that question with you as homework,
Uh,
unless you want to give it a stab now. But it's a question that I think needs to be thought about now that we've talked about it a little bit. And we need to go through our 16 days of activism against gender-based violence to see what our communities are doing, maybe to explore between now and the January workshop what we might find out about what potential collaborators are doing and maybe not able to do. So I sent you this sheet. I will show it to you, I hope.
we can see it.
Yeah, we see.
Can you see this?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so
what we think.
I think you can see this. I hope you can see this. This is a series of, this is on a software called Freeform. It's free and it's easy to build little charts like this. So the collaboratives, the key allies, the key beneficiaries, the opponents and the problem makers, and then we'll just stretch this a little bit more, influential bystanders. So I've listed some, but it's certainly not a complete list. And I invite you for homework to add to this list.
We don't see the list if you're
You
showing.
don't see the list? Okay, so I'll share.
We saw the titles.
Okay,
But we have the list in one of the attachments to your email.
Yeah.
yes, I think so.
Yeah, no, yeah, we had
She said
that.
she was looking like she thought it was there, so I.
Yeah, so can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so these are just beginnings. I'm sure that in your communities, there are offices and people who might qualify, that might be categorized under each of these 5 categories.
Mhm.
Influential bystanders, opponents and problem makers, key beneficiaries, allies and complementary movements, and collaboratives. The complementary movements people might be people in offices in some of the larger cities, but also if you are reaching out to people, that's also a possibility as well. If you're a smaller community, like Lethbridge is a small community here, we work with CUPE and PSAC on certain organizational, what am I trying to say, events. Think about the influencers in the ecosystem. Think about the known influential champions in your ecosystem from the business sector, from the government and public sector. Oh, I'm not sharing this, am I?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
I'm not sharing it. Bad me, bad me. Think about the known influential champions in your business sector, in your government and public sector, in
Mhm.
the citizens and lived experience, and in nonprofits and charitable organizations.
Mhm.
And
So we want within our club ecosystems.
yes,
Within
within
this
your
group.
club's ecosystems. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then what do they have? What do they need? What do they do in your club's ecosystems? And then on Thursday, we'll go through the homework and we'll look at the potential Thursday, January 15th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's in the calendar, the events calendar. And hopefully there'll be a registration link in there as well. And then just before you go, I know I'm holding you a little longer. This was where we were going to go today. I'd like your feedback on how I could have made this better for you and how what worked for you. This is how it works. So if you put in the chat what worked for you and a negative sign if what could have made the session better, and if you have any remaining questions, I will try to answer them directly. So if you just want to spend a couple of minutes putting some stuff in the chat, I would appreciate that. And that's a wrap for today.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for facilitating this, Heather. It was really, really great.
Thank you. Give me honest feedback now. Don't be shy. Don't just say it was good. Just, what could have been better.
You just want this in chat, okay?
Yes, please. Okay.
Could you put this slide back up for what we're supposed to be doing? Because I
Sure.
did the first
Absolutely.
one and I can't remember the other two.
No worries. There you go. Derp, derp. There you go. I will send you some pre-reading, something to do between now and January 15th. Don't do it over Christmas. Have yourselves a Merry Christmas. And then, yeah. All good? I'm going to stop sharing, Lisa. Are you all right?
Mm-hmm.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
I'm typing.
No worries. I appreciate it. I'm not going to close the door until everybody's gone.
One finger typing on my phone here.
Yeah, I understand. Thanks for doing a great presentation, Fiona. That was really
Oh,
helpful.
welcome. It's always nice and to get other people's feedback and sort of if there's any questions and stuff too.
Yeah, that was a highlight, Fiona. That was really great just to hear what's going on there. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. Thanks very much. We're very excited about what we're doing. So
Mm-hmm. I'll make sure everybody gets the slide deck with the
thank you.
filled
Yes,
in
yeah.
stuff. Are you hanging in because you have a question, Lisa? Or is she frozen?
Maybe frozen.
I think she's frozen. Okay. Great. Good comment, Fiona. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to head off here and we'll see you all soon.
Righto. Have a good Christmas if I don't see you before
Thank
then.
you. Thank you. You too. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Enjoy your
Bye.
sister.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.
There we go.